Alright, hello, and welcome to another video. Yes. Well, I gotta do this, since I kinda hinted at this in the ending of the last video when talking about how I had recorded second playthroughs of Zelda 1 and Zelda 2 for the 40th NES anniversary series, but decided not to even finish those on the basis that I have already done playthroughs of them. And with all of the other games I still want to play that I haven't done yet, why redo ones that I've already mentioned Majora's Mask, and then kind of paused at this game. Yeah, and quickly changed the subject in that video. This game, Twilight Princess, or Toilet Princess as I jokingly call it. So many people's favorite Zelda game. Anybody who knows me or has been around this channel or talked with me in Twitch stream chat rooms knows that I really don't like this game. Why? Well, having gotten into the Zelda series in early 1988 thanks to the open world exploration gameplay mechanics of the first game, Zelda 2 to some extent, A Link to the Past, once you get the hammer from the dark world, the rest of the game is pretty open. That's the kind of thing I'd gotten used to in Zelda. Then comes the fourth offering, Link's Awakening, introducing what many people for years would call the Zelda formula. Story-based linear, and so many of the games to follow. While they would be good games, the greatest game of all time, Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Wind Waker, even Minish Cap, another one of the better Zelda games. But linear is, insert your own analogy there. Said many times how if the first Zelda game had been as linear as Minish Cap, I wouldn't even, not only would I not be a Zelda fan, I probably wouldn't even be a video game gamer today. It was the open world roots of the original Zelda game that quite literally saved my interest in video games, as I've said a multitude of times before. Then you get to this game. I played it when it first came out in late 2006, early 2007 on the GameCube, and hated it. Spent most of the playthrough cursing the game for being linear, being yet another Zelda game with a companion character that follows you and annoys you throughout the entire game, like Ezlo and Minish Cap. Like, oh, come on! Not again! Are we ever going to get an open world Zelda game? Are they ever going to bring the Zelda series back to its origins? Which, 11 years later, in 2017, they finally did with Breath of the Wild, which is why I so quickly, well, you can't really fall in love with the video game, but you know what I mean. Took to that game instantly. Finally, emphasis on that 7-letter word. Finally, they bring the series back to its open world roots. Yeah. It's about damn time. But to be perfectly fair, now that we've had our Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, I wouldn't mind giving this game another try. I mean, I played it once and hated it, and I've never. Kind of the same thing with Dragon Warrior 2 NES original. I mean, again, those who were watching these videos from the beginning, back in 2021, early 2022, how many times I ripped on the NES original of Dragon Warrior Dragon Quest 2, saying that if I was ever going to play that game, it'd be the more recent mobile or Switch/mobile remake. Till slowly realizing a lot of my hatred of that game was based on my own mistakes, running from too many battles and getting the later areas drastically under-leveled and hating the game for it, when in reality, kind of like what I was hinting at in Zelda 2 portion of my last video, the difficulty can sometimes be of your own making. Rather than curse the game, curse the person holding the controller. Well, in this case, that goes back on me for that first playthrough of Dragon Warrior 2. Yeah. Once I replayed it, I mean, don't get me wrong, the remake is still better, but the original ain't as bad as I had always said it was early on either. Of course, I'm really looking forward to playing the new remake that came out yesterday. Well, of course, again, today being Halloween, yesterday, October 30th, Dragon Quest rather 1 and 2 HD remake came out yesterday. I'll be getting my copy of it on Thursday. Looking forward to playing that game again, but in the meantime, as for this game, again, now that we've had our Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, they finally did bring the series back to its open world roots. I wouldn't mind giving this game another shot. Problem is I don't even have an emulated ROM copy of the game to play. Why do you think I'm using the soundtrack as the background music for this video instead of actually showing game footage? Yeah, I don't even have a ROM to emulate a playthrough of this game. Never really cared to look one up, being what game we're talking about here. Yeah. I mean, I suppose if I really wanted to play the game, I could do that, but and I might as well, as it's obviously not going to get a Switch 1 port now that the Switch 2 is out. If anything, it'll go on Game Boy Online for the Switch 2, like Wind Waker already has. So my best shot of playing it legitimately, as some people would say, would be next year when I get my Switch 2, come tax time. If I even get one next year. I mean, I don't know. I might not get one until 2027. I mean, frick, the original Switch had been out 3 years before I finally got my first one in 2020. Yeah. But, someday I wouldn't totally ignore a chance to replay this game again. I really hate to base my opinions on one negative playthrough, like I did with Dragon Warrior 2 NES original. Yeah. Just didn't like the companion character idea. That was already overdone. Even in what at the time was the latest, well, second latest after this came out, Minish Cap. Even the top-down 2D style had Ezlo. Like, why? Can we ever have a Zelda game without a goddamn companion character that follows you throughout the years? Of course, now we have, but... And I know Midna is so many fans' favorite character in all of Zelda. And if that's your opinion, you're welcome to it. Just don't expect me to agree with you anytime soon. At least not until such time I ever do get a chance to replay the game again. Yeah. I mean, story-wise, Midna's character was kind of good. Just as a character, I just hate the companion character idea. I'm sorry. Not just in Zelda, but any game, that you have some companion that follows you through the entire game. Like, why? But with Zelda, kind of like the idea of mini-medals in Dragon Quest games. Just because it works in one game doesn't mean you have to do it in every game that follows to the end of time. Which for a while there it seemed like was going to be the case for Zelda games. Again, until the aforementioned Breath of the Wild came out. And what do you know? Finally! Again, emphasis on that 7-letter word. Finally! A main console Zelda title that doesn't have an annoying companion character following you through the entire frickin' game. Hallelujah! Yeah. Anyways, I rip on this game a lot in my videos, calling it Toilet Princess. Hey, it's Toilet Princess and everybody's favorite character shit. No. But all jokes aside, again, I wouldn't mind giving the game another shot if I could ever do so. Again, as of right now, my best chance at doing that. Emulation. Yeah, I know. In some gamer circles, that's a touchy subject, but yeah. I mean, I could get a GameCube, but if I'm going to buy another console, it's not going to be going back to buy a 2-decade-old one. I'm going to save up and buy the new one, the Switch 2. I mean, come on. But, frick, right now I can't even get Dragon Quest 1 and 2 HD remaster. You actually think I can afford to buy a new console yet? Yeah. I mean, again, as it is, I have to wait until next week to even get a, what, $60 game. Hmm. What makes you think I can afford a new console right now? Yeah. Of course, that picture there brings to mind the Wolf Link mechanic. I did kind of like that. It was kind of a cool idea. Exploring in wolf form and using your scent ability and whatnot was kind of a cool idea. But overall, at the time, it was just another linear story-based progression, linear Zelda game with another companion character that follows you through the entire game. And yeah, I quickly lost interest and rolled my eyes in disgust. Anyways, just for those who like this game, hey, don't mind me when I insult it. Because again, whenever I do get the chance to play it again, I might end up liking it just like you do. Whenever that time comes. Again, probably computer PC emulation, Game Boy, or not Game Boy, the GameCube version of it. Anyways, I just had to make this video again since I kind of hinted at it in the 40th anniversary NES finale when I was talking about Zelda games I haven't played yet, mentioned Wind Waker. Started to mention this game and quickly stopped myself and paused and changed the subject. And ever since then, this has been something I've been thinking about, so here I am doing this video to clarify. There's also Wind Waker, the other GameCube Zelda game. Well, main series. Actually, I don't know if Hyrule Warriors doesn't count as main series, I don't think. But, yeah. And again, to be fair, another thing I do remember liking about this game is the underwater exploration, which Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom had that, but so again, this game does have its merits. I, at the time in 2006, 2007, was just tired of companion characters in Zelda, tired of linear story-based progression in Zelda. Wanted it. Yeah, you get the idea by now. Point made. And again, now that we've had Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom, that urge, so to speak, has been, however you want to put that, I'm happy with that now. So, no longer need to sit there and say, oh, come on, are we ever going to bring the series back to where it came from? No, they already have, twice over now. And as for the companion characters, I mentioned this in some Twitch stream chat, and somebody was quick to point out Tears of the Kingdom and the Sages. And yeah, well, they can get annoying. But guess what? In Tears of the Kingdom, you can disable that feature. Wink, wink, wink. In Minish Cap, you couldn't shut Ezlo up no matter what. Yeah. So, yeah, it's not quite the same thing. Yes, the Sages, once you completed that temple, they would follow you, and if it got annoying to you, that's, kind of the same thing, but then again, it's not, because again, you could disable them. Yeah. You couldn't shut Ezlo up no matter how hard you tried. There was no option to remove him. So it's not quite the same thing now, is it? Wink, wink. Yeah. Anyways, now I'm rambling on incoherently and making a bigger chump of myself than I already did with the Dragon Quest VII series upload mishaps. That's all for this game. until such time I get to play it again. Either emulation, or next year if I do get a Switch 2, maybe on Game Boy or keep saying Game Boy. This game wouldn't work on Game Boy. Are you kidding me? GameCube. Actually play the game again. Because again, I really hate to base my all-time opinions on one negative playthrough. Yeah. Anyways. And again, once more, to re-emphasize, for those who do like this game, if I do, as a passing thought, make another joke about Twilight Princess or whatnot, just ignore it. Yeah. As it is kind of a running gag, it has kind of become kind of a running gag for the channel to rip on this game. I probably should stop that, but anyways, as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. As now that the NES 40th anniversary is done, back to Final Fantasy V and Dragon Quest VII, picking up where I left off in those two games. So yeah, see ya then, and for now, have a good day, and bye. Yeah, dang you, Nintendo. Why didn't you port this game to the Switch? This and Wind Waker both. I don't know what they were thinking with that, but yeah, I could have already been replaying it again if they just... Anyways, bye!